Oftentimes, it feels like we are just thrust into a situation we don't want to be in or a feeling that we don't want to feel. We start to go through a depressive stage we didn't ask for, we have to be in an environment that doesn't match our energy, or maybe we find ourselves in a situation that you thought would play out much differently and now you're stuck here for a while. In these unavoidable, inescapable scenarios, what is the best course of action? Do less and be more. To explain this concept, let me take you a few weeks back to a punk/hip hop concert that I attended. So my friends are in a local rap group/boy band. They're called 𝙬𝙗𝙤𝙧, and this was their first show back since COVID. The venue they were performing at was this very gritty, grungy, half outdoor, half garage space out in the suburbs that featured both hip hop and punk rock artists. And the people and the vibes there definitely matched the type of artists that would be performing. I had known what to expect going into this concert since I'd been to a lot of similar shows. The garage would probably be packed with little to no space. My ears would ring after each performance, and several mosh pits that I would have to watch out for would form too. But what I didn't expect was one of my old friends from high school, Matt, to show up to the concert. Even though he's really good friends with one of the rappers in 𝙬𝙬𝙘𝙧, I just never expected to see him in a place like this. You see, Matt is a very spiritual, empathetic, protect your energy type of person. He's an extremely intelligent dude, he's running several businesses, and he meditates for like a few hours a day. So you can kind of understand the type of guy that this is. So when I first saw him at the event and saw that he decided to come here, I just couldn't wrap my head around it because I knew that he knew what he was getting into here. So we're outside of the garage chilling where everyone was hanging out in between performances, and I can kind of see Matt scoping out the place to get a feel for it. When it was time for 𝙬𝙬𝙧𝙧, the rap group that we came to see perform, I was sure that he was just going to be one of those spectators on the side bobbing his head in approval. But to my surprise, when my friends went on and the inevitable mosh pit opened, he hopped right in and went crazy. Like, this dude had his shirt off and he even stepped on stage for a second. I was perplexed. Why was this very calm, spiritual dude taking part in the chaos that ensued in this garage? And then it hit me. The fact that Matt is so in tune with himself and his surroundings is the very reason that he decided to step in that mosh pit and rage. Because he understood the very thing that everyone needs to understand in order to optimally flow throughout life, which is to form and adapt yourself to your present situation or feeling. Matt is someone who understands the concept of less doing, more being, and actually lives it out. And the key to me understanding this actually lied in the conversation we had previous to him walking through the fence door to get into the venue. When I asked him what he'd been up to lately, he said, "Man, I don't even really know what I do." And I said, "Just grinding and doing a lot as usual?" He replied, "Just being." And that sentence is really how I was able to figure this all out. Now, maybe I completely misinterpreted the situation and reasoning behind Matt's actions, and he actually just really likes to rage and be in mosh pits, but even if I did, I think that this is a very important concept that people need to be more consciously aware of. When you are presented with an unwanted or wanted emotion or experience, you must become that emotion or experience, instead of trying to force yourself out of it. If I interpreted why Matt did all of that correctly, I'd say that the reason he went in on the mosh pit is because after scoping out the situation, he realized the type of energy that these people and this environment would evoke, and he matched his form and energy to that and just became the energy of the place. It's exactly like that quote from Bruce Lee, which is spammed under so many self-help videos, and I bet before someone gets to this part in the video, they're gonna spam it too, which is,
"Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend."
I'll give you another example. This is how I applied this recently. As a lot of you now know, I moved back to my hometown of Buffalo, New York from Vegas in late March. The month before coming home, I was scrambling to find a good place that looked good and at a decent price, and this place that I'm now in showed up. The space looked fantastic, especially for how much I was gonna pay. The only drawback was that I couldn't actually go and look at the place myself because I was still in Vegas while looking for apartments apartments, and I needed this apartment to be ready and the lease to already be signed by the time I got back here. So I just said, this looks good, let's do it, and I signed this apartment for a year. When I first got here, everything seemed amazing. It seemed perfect for me. Central air, nice industrial looking ceilings and walls, a fitness center, good lighting. It was everything I could have asked for. But because I never got to check out the place in real life before I came, I soon found out that I was living on one of the loudest streets in Buffalo. There are almost constantly ATVs, streetcars, and motorcycles riding on the street below, and sometimes until 4 in the morning. It was messing up my sleep, it was messing up my ability to record these videos, and I was getting so fucking mad. But then I remembered the concept of less doing and more being. Instead of trying to fight the situation and get super mad at it, I formed into the situation and adapted to it. I quickly figured out the times when the ATVs and the streetcars were most active, and I picked the times to record at the quietest times in the day. And now, yes, the ATVs, the streetcars, they still bother me and make me angry sometimes, but I've more so just accepted and formed myself to this new situation that I'm in. You see, oftentimes we make life much harder than it needs to be because we try to resist or fight the energy or environment we find ourselves in. When most people are sad or angry or have a negative emotion, they don't allow themselves to be sad or angry. They fight the urge and they try to come off of that energy as soon as possible. And the result is being stuck in that sadness or anger or any negative emotion for much longer than they should be. If you instead really accepted that sadness or that depressive stage that you will inevitably go through, that we all go through throughout your life, you'd find its negative impact on you to be pretty much completely alleviated. Recently, I've been going through a much more chilled out stage of my life, or rather, I realized that I need to take my foot off the gas pedal a little bit with everything I'm doing. The past week or two, I wasn't really feeling the best, but I kind of just allowed myself to feel this way and be in this state, and now I feel like I have a much better grip on what I'm supposed to be right now, which is not forcing my growth and evolution so much as I usually do. Like, it just feels like one of those cycles in my life where I'm going to start focusing on different things in my life than just like putting all my focus on my work and just grinding. And I've accepted that and I've become this cycle. And that lack of force has allowed me to reach a much more zen-like state. Life has these ebbs and these flows that we all go through and that are all necessary. It's not in your best interest to only allow and become the positive, even if it's so much easier to be the happy when you're in a happy state or environment, which, let's be honest, it's much easier to allow yourself to feel happy than it is to feel sad. Now, knowing this, you might be scratching your head asking me through the screen, Cole, don't you have to force yourself to do some tasks throughout your day that require discipline and help you reach your goals? Well, yes and no. I would say that yes, most of the time I have to force myself to start a task that I need to do, but once I'm in the middle of that task, I just become it. I don't think about what I'm doing, and therefore I don't actually do it, I just be it. I am the task in that moment. I don't really know what it is, but when I'm doing something, anything really, but especially meaningful work, something just comes out of me that I could never fully comprehend if I tried to think too deeply about it, and my ego dissolves and I form myself into the task at hand. I know that seems and sounds really confusing because it's a difficult concept to put into words. It's something that you need to experience and apply in your life to fully understand. You know, words can only do so much here. So the next time you're in a low or even a high point in your life, become that sensation and allow yourself to feel it. And whatever environment you find yourself in, form your energy to that environment and adapt to it instead of trying to resist it. And watch how going through life this way makes you feel lighter, almost as if you're floating. As always, special thank you to all the patrons on Patreon. If you don't know what this is a platform separate from YouTube where I'm putting out exclusive videos and podcasts that you can't find anywhere else. If you want to check that out, the link is in the description, patreon.com/Cole Hastings. Really appreciate you for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure you did if you're still here, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or night.